What's going on? What's going on, team? Welcome back to another weekly stock talk. My name is Xander with Facer Trading Academy. Hope everybody's had a great last week. Hope everybody had a great Monday. And let's jump right into it. Today, what we're going to be doing is we're going to go over the S&P 500. We'll go over the NASDAQ, how that's been doing. Also, as promised this week on this week's Stock Talk, I will go over my top NFT play that I'm watching. And it's made over, I think it was 450%, I think, or 540% actually. Once we jump into it, you guys will see, since we started looking at it and since we called it out in our members group and the program. And then we'll touch on some of the opportunities that we're watching for this week and some of the lesser important opportunities, but we're still watching those. And then we'll touch on those at the very end. So, like I said, if you guys are excited, smash that thumbs up button, smash that like button, show some support. It helps the channel. If you guys aren't subscribed, we do this weekly. So make sure to subscribe. That way you guys get notified whenever we come out with these videos, and then you can get on top of these opportunities one of the first, right? So let's jump right into the S&P 500. So over this last week, we've pretty much seen a huge run up back to the 406 level. We were looking at this last week, and then in the members group, we actually talked about this, and we said that we are expecting it to break 400, and that's exactly what we ended up seeing. We have been trading within this channel here pretty much since November. Ever since we got into this channel, we've been pretty much trading within this channel, bounced at the bottom here, got rejected, bounced, rejected, bounced, didn't quite get to the top, but got rejected, and then bounced once again on this level. And now we're pretty much approaching this resistance level. However, I don't expect it to, head up to 414. It might, you never know. But at this point, we're watching the RSI and it looks fairly overbought. So I'm expecting a bit of a correction to come in here. However, nevertheless, it's still really great news. So let's check out the NASDAQ. And we're going to be looking at /NQ. And that was SPY, SPY. Now we're looking at /NQ. /NQ, we've been trading down to the downside, and we kept on getting rejected by this SMA line. We got rejected here. We got rejected here. We made a nice pullback and then came back up. Everybody was like, oh, we might break through and head right back to higher highs. And then we ended up getting rejected here at this SMA once again, which we expected because we've seen that historically happen. Obviously, if we did break, we'd be prepared, but it's better to be prepared than surprised, right? So we were expecting it to get rejected here. If we weren't going to get rejected, we had an alternative plan ready. Ended up getting rejected, came back down a little bit, came back up, got rejected again, came down, bounced on the support level, rejected once again, bounced on the support level again. Once again, we were expecting to see either a rejection or a breakthrough, but we were leaning more towards the breakthrough side because we were approaching this this wedge here. So at this point, we've gotten rejected so many times. The NASDAQ started doing a lot better. The stocks started doing a lot better. The SPY was doing a lot better. The market overall was doing a lot better. So we were expecting a break to the upside. However, we were also prepared if we did get rejected once again. So now that we saw this breakthrough, kind of the same situation that we're seeing with the S&P 500, we are fairly overbought if we're taking a look at the RSI. So I am expecting a bit of a pullback to happen, a bit of a correction. However, that's to be expected when we are in overbought territory. That way we can come down a little bit, maybe have a nice healthy little correction. And then if things continue to go the way they're going, we might see higher highs. So that's pretty much a wrap with the SPY, the S&P 500 and the NASDAQ. Overall, it's been a pretty great last entire week. Tech's been doing fairly well. It's been, rebounding fairly well. And let's just jump right into a few of the opportunities for this week, and then maybe do 2 or 3, and then we'll jump into the NFT play, and I'll share that, and then I'll continue on with the rest of the opportunities. So the first one that we're going to be taking a look at is going to be KMX. This one we've actually discussed on Sunday before the market opened, and we did end up seeing a nice push in Monday's open. We did break into the EMA here. We ended up bouncing. The reason we were looking at this, we saw a nice pullback. We saw a pullback on the MACD, this nice healthy pullback, and we were at the SMA. And we've been holding above this SMA pretty much since the beginning of the year. Even before that, we were just trading on the SMA, and then we ended up making higher highs, higher highs, higher highs, higher highs. And then we ended up having this pullback down to the SMA, which was our first support that we were looking at right after this level of 124, because that was a previous bounce here. But since we did break through that, we were expecting to bounce on this SMA. We also, based on the volume profile, we saw quite a bit of healthy volume here. And we also saw an increase in volume coming in right after we got this pullback. So we ended up getting a bounce. I am expecting this to potentially start heading up to where it was. That's about another 5.6%. From current price points from where it bounced in total, we're looking at about 10%. So that was the first one we're looking at. And if we're holding above this EMA, which I expect that we do, we have plenty of room to run on the RSI. The MACD is still looking like we got room to reverse. So I'm expecting this to at least hit, this 136 level, if not higher highs. But that's what we're watching on KMX. The next one that we're going to be taking a look at is GNUS. This one's been pulling back quite a bit. Similar to the last one, we have been, but this one's a little bit of a better pattern. We've been holding above this SMA for quite some time now, pretty much since September, end of September. We did dip down a little bit below it. However, overall, we've been holding the SMA fairly well. And then with this massive, massive dip that we saw right after we saw earnings come out, I'm expecting this to potentially bounce. However, I haven't seen no confirmation yet, but this is definitely a great opportunity to be paying attention to, just because of the profit potential. We're looking at about 40% if we do recover. And we have overall been, shown a fairly stable, significant pattern that we can, historically look back at and say, this has been trending to the upside over time. So with this pullback, this might just be a great opportunity. What I'd be waiting for is a break of this EMA level. And then from this EMA level, if we return to previous highs, we're still looking at about 50%, which is pretty big. But once again, we are still trending to the downside. We are oversold in the RSI, so that is a good sign and the indication of a potential reversal here. We did see that similar reversal potentially happen here. And then we ended up getting rejected. So we're waiting for a definitive break into this reversal and a confirmation on the RSI and the EMA. And then we want to watch, the next thing we'd want to watch is this SMA level of $2. And if we break that, then we're definitely going to be heading to higher highs. So that's one that I'm paying attention to. The next one that I'm going to be talking about is Discovery, DISKA. DISCA. This one, very similar. We've been trending above this SMA. We like this pattern. It looks very, very good. And then we had this huge, huge pullback happen. And ever since then, we did end up bouncing and we've been just consolidating here. Personally, I have started a starter position on this. Once we see a break of this EMA level, that's when I'm going to start adding heavier. And that's once again more so of a play just based on the fact that we have this huge potential here of about 46% if we return to previous highs. We are currently sitting at a support level, which is this level here, that $40 level. We do have a stop set right below 40, around 37, 38. Just to manage our risk and protect our downside. However, this is looking fairly stable. If we get a positive catalyst that throws in, we're going to definitely see a huge run up. Once again, first level I'm going to be watching is this SMA level at 56. If we break that, definitely watching this next higher high of 79. I see huge potential in this. Might take a few days, might take a few weeks, but you know, for a 40% gain, you know, it's something worth staying patient about and for. So before I continue, let me go ahead and share this NFT play that I promised you guys. So the one that I'm looking at is CWRK. So we've been talking about this one basically since we hit this $50.50 mark. And just to confirm that for you guys, I'll just share one of the screenshots from one of the conversations within our server and within our chat room for the members of the program. On 127, I put out CWRK priced around 59 to 62. Today, the price is $1.12 per share. Congrats to everyone who took advantage of this opportunity. So we've been watching this one since basically it was around 22 cents. And then once we saw this strong volume coming in, we definitely knew we were onto something, especially when a lot of headlines were picking up on NFTs and kind of the future of that. And ever since then, we've pretty much seen a bit of a repetitive pattern. And that's what we're starting to see potentially playing out here on this next leg. So we saw this huge gain here. We had a pullback to this EMA line, consolidated, huge push to the upside, then another pullback just similar to this exactly. If you guys just watch the technical breakdown that I have here, been tracking this for the entire time, push up, got rejected, ended up pulling back, consolidated for a bit, bounced pretty much on this resistance level that we previously had at this. It was approximately $2. We ended up coming up to, we came up to $2 and then we ended up coming back down to this $1 mark. My bad. The $1 mark where we had the previous resistance. So ran up to 2, came back down to 1, and then we broke through this, ran all the way up to 3.7, and then we ended up once again pulling back, not once, but twice and 3 times, basically to this previous resistance level that we had, similar to what happened here, around $2. And now we're starting to see a reversal forming on the MACD. And then we're obviously got plenty of room to run on the RSI before we become overbought. We are still holding above this EMA level. So if we continue to hold, I can potentially expect at least a run up back to previous highs, which was 3.7, and that's 22%. But if we're just following the pattern that we've been playing out this entire time, I expect to see higher highs, which would be probably another 50%. And just to show you guys the percentage gain since we started watching this, it was pretty much since this level right here where we built this support level all the way up to 370, and that's 590%. 590% since we put out that call for the members in the program. So I guess I'll plug in the program now if you guys are interested and you guys have a desire to work with me on a closer basis and be able to find these opportunities ahead of time. That way you can jump in on them, or you can just communicate with everybody in the group and see what everybody's sharing, as well as get the education and the foundation of how to trade and how to invest and be an educated trader or investor. Feel free to hit me up on Instagram. I'll link that down below in the description. So reach out through there. And yeah, so that's pretty much the NFT play. We've been doing fairly well with NFTs. And they've been making headlines for quite some time now. So if that continues, I expect this to be a pretty big winner in 2021. But once again, guys, do your own due diligence, do your own research. That's my perspective. That's my opinion. And what we teach in the program is don't trade off of somebody else's opinion. Do your own due diligence, do your own fundamental research before you jump in on any of this. I just wanted to give you guys a technical breakdown and kind of what I'm seeing and what we've been playing and what's been working for us. So let's jump into the rest of the opportunities for this week. The next one's going to be DraftKings, DKNG. So this one, once again, we've been seeing a consistent uptrend pattern, higher highs, higher lows. We ended up pulling back to this support level that we've been seeing ever since pretty much November that we've been bouncing on We bounced out on here. We bounced on it here. Bounced on it here. We bounced on it here. We came down just recently to the same trend line, and we ended up bouncing here. We are approaching this resistance level. However, based on historic patterns, I do expect this to continue to at least the 74 mark, where we have been getting rejected recently, but that's 14%, 14.4% profit potential. And if, there's always room to go higher, right? So we are at 48 on the RSI, not quite bullish. However, we want to catch these opportunities beforehand. We are still above this EMA. So as long as we're holding above this EMA, I think this thing has great potential. So this one's we're going to be watching this week. If it starts continuing and breaks through this resistance level, and continues to hold this EMA, and this resistance level is actually going to be the SMA as well. So if we break this level, it's going to be a critical level that we're going to be breaking. And then I expect this to make, another 13% to the upside. The next one that we're going to be taking a look at is going to be WWE. So this one's been pulling back for some time now. I think it's been about a week or a week and a half, maybe two. We've been pulling back, a little bit volatile, but overall, if we're looking at the big picture on the 4-hour frequency here, we see that it's been selling off. We aren't very, very oversold. However, we are approaching this SMA line. We have been holding above this SMA line for the most part, and the MACD is starting to indicate a potential reversal. So this one's one that we're interested in. We're definitely going to be paying attention to. If we just measure from current price point to, previous highs or recent highs, we're going to be looking at about 7%. But then again, we can always make higher highs. 7% is what we're looking at to the upside. And then we're going to be looking at about, a 2-3% risk management situation. And that should put us approximately by this SMA level. The one thing I'm going to say is with this one, I'd probably be a little bit more patient. The volume is slowly dying off. So we are starting to consolidate a bit. I would probably wait for a more definitive break to one side or the other before making a decision about jumping in on this. Even though we are starting to have an indication of a potential reversal, we did have that happen here recently. We did end up jumping up, but then we ended up crashing right back down to where we were. So with this, I'd definitely just be watching this one for now. However, definitely a great opportunity, definitely a great company. The next one that we're going to be jumping into is going to be PLTR. So with tech doing well, this one we've been watching for some time now. It's been sitting on this support level that we formed back in November. We ended up coming down here, held this support, came all the way up to 45, came back down, held this support here once again, beginning of March. And now we did end up breaking it a little bit. However, then we broke back up to the upside. We're just kind of, consolidating here on this support level. But if we do end up seeing, an explosion in tech, we're definitely going to see, a break to the upside. If we break this SMA level, I wouldn't be surprised if this thing continued to blow up, maybe making, higher highs up to, the 38 level, if not back up to the 45 levels. That's about 40%. This one, definitely an interesting one. I think this one's for the most part exhausted when it comes down to the downside. Nobody really knows, so this can go either way. However, it's been holding the support and it's been a strong support. So this is definitely a great price point for this stock going into the future. So definitely one to be paying attention to, definitely one to add to your watch list. Also, if we're taking a look at the volume profile, this support level is at this, at this level that has a lot of volume. So, we've got quite a bit of a supportive bias as to why I would continue to hold. So let's jump into the next one. The next one is going to be SAH. This one had a huge pullback. Once again, we're liking the trend, the higher highs trend. This has been trading horizontally for a bit. However, nevertheless, we've been trading, above this SMA line for the most part, even though it has been horizontal. So, we did make lower lows here. We ended up pulling back. we were a bit oversold, and then we ended up making higher highs. But for the most part, we are approximately in the same price range here. And then as far as the MACD goes, we are starting to potentially form a reversal as well. So this is another one that I'm going to be paying attention to, 11% profit potential. And then we're watching the risk. Obviously, we're watching the EMA. We did just break above it. So if it continues to hold, we're going to have confirmation with that. And then if we have confirmation on the MACD of a reversal, that's just going to support our thesis on this as well. And then we're obviously going to be watching our downside, probably another, if we got 11%, probably watching maybe, 2-3% in risk management. So those are for the most part the bigger plays. Some of the other ones that I wanted to bring up is CHEGG, CHGG. It's taking a bit to load. There we go. So from what I'm seeing on this one, so far we saw this huge pullback that happened, and then we ended up forming a bit of a double bottom here on the support level. We are currently holding above this EMA. However, we are below this SMA level. But based on the volume profile level, this is a fairly significant volume level. So, personally, I wouldn't be surprised to see this, at least heading up to, the SMA line, which is about 7.5%. But what's most interesting about this one is the consistent uptrend that we've been seeing and the profit potential that, is presented here. It's about 22%. If we're taking a look, we've consistently, been making, obviously, it's been looping up and down. However, we've been, made highs here. It's been a resistance level that we've been holding and respecting, which is one that we just broke through. And then we ended up making higher highs, and then we saw this massive pullback. And we're basically at this support level now that used to be a resistance level back in September and October. This is that level right here, if you're watching my cursor. And that's what we just broke through. So that's one that I'm fairly interested in, obviously based off the profit potential, 22%. We are, the MACD isn't looking, prime as to what we usually look for. However, with the big picture, this could be a great opportunity. However, I wouldn't be surprised if this pulled back a bit. But just definitely one to keep an eye on, and it's a very interesting one to have on your watch list. Another one is going to be BABA. This one, once again, this is another one that we've been watching for a very, very long time since it's been pulling back this entire time. We just recently saw another pullback back to the support level once again. This is more of a longer term play. I think BABA is going to do very well in the near future. Maybe the next 6 months, 3 months. So I wouldn't be surprised if this thing ripped back up to the 319 level, and that's about 40%. It's a strong, stable company, and we are, relatively at a very good price point as far as getting a good deal in the big picture for this stock if we are interested in investing in something like this, if we see value in this. And that really comes down to you as a trader. Do you see value in Alibaba and the company itself? Is it a company that you want to be involved with? So that's pretty much that for BABA. The next one is Square. Once again, this is another one that is more of a longer term play in the next couple of months. And relatively to the big picture, we are at a fairly good price point to get a decent deal. Once again, don't start off with a very heavy position if you're investing in a longer term play. Maybe just have a starter position, and if it performs well, you could always take profits if it becomes overbought. However, if it pulls back, you can tolerate that pullback and potentially add more risk whenever or add more to your position size whenever you feel that it has, become very oversold once again, and you're getting even a better deal, and you believe that long term this is gonna, appreciate in value. So with this one, once again, MACD is not very set up the way we really want to be watching it. However, in the big picture, we are still getting a fairly good deal. Even from this point to the previous highs, we're looking about 18%. Not that I expect it to go that high right now, but you never know, right? And Square is a company that I'm just very interested in personally, and I think it's going to do very well in the next, 6 months to a year to 2 years. Longer term, I think it's going to be a very great play. And another thing, we did end up forming a bit of a cup and handle pattern, and we ended up breaking out of that here. So we'll see if this continues to the upside. The next resistance that I'd be really personally watching is this SMA level. And if we break through that, then we can potentially expect to head to 283. Until then, though, that's going to be the level that I'm watching, and then obviously watching the EMA with a risk tolerance that works for me. And if it even does pull back, I wouldn't be too disappointed about it. I'd just probably add more to my position slowly. Like I said, I have a starter position going on this, so it's not something that I'm concerned about if it does pull back. I don't have a very significant position in it where it's gonna squeeze me or anything like that if it does pull back. If anything, it's just I'd be happy about it, and I just probably add more to that position whenever I feel that the stock is once again overbought and I'm getting even a better deal, and I'll just average down. The next one that we're going to be taking a look at is going to be Skills, SKLZ. This is another one. I wouldn't say this is one that's a year play or whatnot. However, this might take some time for it to play out. This one's been trending above this SMA line. This is one that I was debating about discussing first, but it just didn't really meet my criteria of something that would be prime for this upcoming week. However, it might take a week, maybe two, maybe a little bit longer, but I feel like it's gonna play out very, very well. Once again, another inverted cup and handle pattern here. Ended up right here, boom, and here's the handle. We are consolidating here. We are above this EMA line right now. And like I said, we have been trending above this SMA line for the most part. And we saw this massive pullback. So that's the reason that I'm interested in it. Profit potential, we're looking at about 58%, which is huge. And I think this company in general, if you guys look into the fundamentals of it, I think it's going to perform fairly well. Longer term as well, a year, maybe 2 years from now, but even in this shorter term, maybe, the next week or 2 or 3, I do think it's going to, make a substantial move to the upside. And I think we're at a very, comfortable support level here. Let's go ahead and add that. So we are sitting at this fairly significant support level. Once again, a volume profile is confirming that for us. So definitely one to be paying attention to. Just a few more I wanted to mention is XOM. This one we've been watching for last week. It didn't really move much. However, I still think it's got great potential. Once again, doesn't really meet the criteria for a great opportunity. Definitely one to watch though, and add to your watch list for sure. Got about 9.5% here on this play. We are just holding this SMA level. So really, I think that, based on historic patterns, this is a fairly decent deal. However, you be the judge of that. And if it's something that meets your criteria or your thesis or something that you're comfortable with and you understand. But I think it's going to definitely make a move to the upside. And that's pretty much that for ExxonMobil. The next one is going to be, let's go A1. So this is one that, is going to be a company or a stock that's going to be part of an acquisition. So that's really why I'm watching this one. We are, sitting at a fairly comfortable level. This has been a very strong support here at 1047. We're at 11. So, the downside is the risk to the downside is about, 4%. However, the upside, we're looking at about 25. So the risk to reward ratio is there. And then I feel that after the acquisition does go through, I think this company is going to do, or this stock is going to do very well. So that's the reason that one's on my watch list. I would recommend doing, some fundamental research as to what's going on with A1, what's going on with Mark Forged, kind of the story behind that. And then you can create your own thesis and decide for yourself if that's something that you're interested in investing in, or if you see value in this, in this play. So that's going to be it, guys, for this week. If you guys found any value, make sure to smash that thumbs up button. If you guys aren't subscribed, make sure you guys subscribe. And I'll see you guys on the next one in next week's weekly stock talk video. See you later, guys.